Hello everybody, here to work out some of the course 1 benchmark test, first quarter, chapters 1 through 3 assignment here. So if you look at number 1, it says the table below shows the number of pennies, nickels, dimes and quarters that Heather has in her purse. What is the ratio of dimes to nickels expressed as a fraction in simplest form? So what we're going to do here is first think of what it's telling us. It says a ratio of dimes to nickels, right? So when I'm thinking dimes to nickels as a ratio, I'm going to say, well, which one does it mention first? It mentions my dimes first, right? So I'm going to put D on top of my fraction, or my ratio. And on the bottom, I'm going to put N for nickels, right? D over N. And now, how many dimes does it say I have over here according to my table? Well, I have 9, right? I found that right here. And for nickels, I have 6. So there you go, I'm done. Oh, wait a minute here. I'm not done, because if you look here, it says expressed as a fraction in simplest form. So simplest form means I need to simplify this, guys. So I need to figure out what number goes into both of these numbers, 9 and 6. Well, that's quite easy, right? If you know your math facts, you know that 9 I can divide by 3 and get an even number. Or, I'm sorry, a whole number. Same with 6, I could divide by 3 here, right? If I divide the top by 3, I need to divide the bottom by 3. So 9 divided by 3 gives me 3, right? Because 3 times 3 equals 9. And 6 divided by 3, think of it as what times 3 equals 6? That would be 2. Now, can I simplify further? I can't, right? Because these are both prime numbers. So that means my answer is 3 over 2. There's 3 dimes to 2 nickels, right? For every 2 nickels, there's 3 dimes. For every 3 dimes, there's 2 nickels. Which is also right here. Our answer, A. Alright, for number 2, it says a cookie recipe calls for a ratio of 4 cups of flour to 3 cups of sugar. So for each cup of flour that is used, how many cups of sugar are needed? So what I need to do here is I'm going to write, let me try a different color this time. Let's try green. It says 4 cups of flour, right, over 3 cups of sugar. And I'll put an F here and an S here, so we don't get them confused. Now, over here it talks about for each cup of flour that is used, how many cups of sugar are needed. So for each cup, that means, if I'm asking for each cup, that means 1 cup, right? So that means I want 1 cup of flour here. And we have to decide, how did I go from 4 to 1? What did I have to divide by to get that number? Well, I just need to divide by 4, right? 4 divided by 4 gives me 1. So now 3 divided by 4 is going to give me the number of sugar I need. So when I have 3 divided by 4, I can work it out on a calculator and get a decimal, but that's not what I need to do here because there's no decimals in my answer. So I'm just going to say 3 divided by 4. And I can just write it like this as a fraction. So for every 1 cup of flour, I need 3/4 cup of sugar. And that's my answer. Do I see 3 cups of sugar anywhere? I do. It's right here. It's G. For number 3, it says which ratio is not equivalent? So we have to think, if this is a ratio, and we could basically write it as a fraction, right? 5 over 8. So then over here, 10 out of 8. I have 10 on top. And this is out of 18. I'm sorry, I said 8. And we have to think, how did I go from 5 to 10? What did I have to multiply by to get there? Well, I know 5 times 2. I hope you guys all know that. Would give me 10, right? So if I multiply the top by 2, I need to multiply the bottom by 2. So does 8 times 2 give me 18? Like it says over here? If it does, then I would say, oh, that is an equivalent fraction. If it doesn't, I would say that's not my answer. So you're going to have to do that for each of these and see which one is not equivalent. Unless you already get it on the first one. Alright, I'm using my old tools because for some reason this isn't working for me. So for short answer, Mrs. Wilkinson can buy, or number 4, so Mrs. Wilkinson can buy a 20-ounce box of cereal for $3.60, right? Or I'm going to highlight this. Or a 28-ounce box of cereal for $4.20, right? Hey, this one was supposed to be red. I don't know what happened. Okay, 2 different pieces of information, right? So we just have to figure out which one the better buy is. And what I'm going to do is first figure out how much my unit rate is. Remember, my unit rate is when I have to make something equal 1. Basically, my bottom number is going to equal 1. Oh, I don't like that line. So I have $3.60 over 20 ounces, right? For this first one. Oh my gosh. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my unit rate 1. I want it to equal 1 ounce because we want to figure out our unit rate of ounces. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take 20 divided by 20, right? Sorry, my tools are not working with me today. Okay, 20 divided by 20, because that's going to give me 1 on the bottom, which is what I want when I'm looking for unit rates. So if I do 360 divided by 20, I can work it out. And actually, luckily, you guys have phones and stuff in front of you, so you can use a calculator for this. I have no issue with that. Oh. If you can find your calculator. My computer's not working for me. A second. Okay, there we go. So I have $3.60 divided by 20, right? Because there's 20 ounces. Now I'm going to get 18 right here on the top. So I get $0, right? And 18 cents basically. This is money. So that's my first unit rate. Now I have to do it to the second one. So again, if I took $4.20 and I put it over 28 because it's my second ounce, right? I should have wrote this in blue because I'm talking about the blue ones now. Let me switch my color now. A little bit late, but now I'm going to divide by 28, right, to get my unit rate. I'm dividing by 28 because I want to make my bottom number equal 1. And I know that in order to do that, all I have to do is divide by whatever the bottom number is. So 28 divided by 28 equals 1. And since I divided the bottom by 28, I have to divide the top by 28. I got to keep it balanced, right? So 420 divided by 28, we'll pull out your calculator again. I'm going to say $4.20 divided by 28 because there's 28 ounces. And my unit rate for this one is $0.15, right? So over here, I'm going to write 0.15. So now ask yourself, if you're buying cereal, which one would you rather buy? The one that's where it's 15 cents per ounce or 18 cents per ounce? Well, we're looking for the better buy, which means 15 cents is our better deal. So for explaining my reasoning, I'm going to say the 28-ounce box of cereal is the better buy because the unit rate is 15 cents per ounce, right? The unit rate of the other box was 18 cents per ounce. So that's how you can explain your reasoning. Something along those lines would suffice. It would work. The 28-ounce box of cereal is a better buy because the unit rate is 15 cents per ounce. The unit rate of the other box is 18 cents per ounce, which is more expensive, right? So you can explain your reasoning there. Something like this would be good enough. The ratio table shows how much Raymond's brother earns for working different numbers of hours. How many hours would he need to work in order to earn $176? So what I'm going to do here is look at my table and see what patterns I can figure out. So let's see here, 5 to 40. So for 5 hours, he earns $40. So let me see here, 5 times what equals 40? Well, let's look at the next one. 8 times something equals 64, right? 15 times something equals 120. So if I know my math facts, I know that 5 times 8 equals 40. And 8 times 8 equals 40. So I already found my pattern, right? And 15 times 8, I don't really know off the top of my head, so let me use my calculator. I'm going to pull it out. There he is. So I said 15 times 8, right? Because that's the pattern I'm going with. I'm multiplying by 8. 15 times 8 equals 120, so it checks out. So the next thing I know is this number times 8 is going to give me 176. Now I can't do times 8 on a number that I don't know, right? So also you can notice the pattern. 40 divided by 8 equals 5. 64 divided by 8 equals 8. 120 divided by 8 equals 15. So 176 divided by 8 should give me my answer. So that's how you do number 5. Alright, number 6 says there are 30 students in Mr. Holland's class. Oops. And, sorry, this is bugging me. Music class. If 30% of the students play in the school band, how many students in the class play in the school band? So if there's 30 students in Mr. Holland's class, if 30% of the students play in the school band, how many students in the class play in the school band? So what we're going to do is we need to turn this percent into a decimal. And if you remember how to do that, it's the Beyonce song, to the left, right? So I'm going to take my decimal, which is right here right now, right? I'm going to say to the left, and it becomes 0.3, right? That's how you turn a percent into a decimal. So this is 0.3, right? Or 0.30, which is the same as 0.3. Or 30 hundredths or 3/10, however you want to say it. So now there are 30 students, so it's 30% of the students, right? Of means times, so this just means 0.3 times 30. If you can do that, you'll figure out what your answer is of these choices. It's just 0.3 times 30. And that's how you do it. You guys have calculators, you can do that. Something I like doing, which might throw you guys off right now, but it's just in my head I like to do it, is think of 10%. Like 10% of 30, that's easy to figure out, because I'm just going to say 0.1 times 30, which gives me 3. So then there's 3 of those. So I'm going to say 3 times 3, and get my answer that way. That's one way you can do it in your head. You can figure out 10% really quick, if you would just go divide this by 10, basically. Alright, that is number 6. I'm going to stop there for this video. This is just page 1. Alright.